Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Blues Central post-game every time here on STL Sports Central YouTube, powered by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. The Blues fall tonight 6-5 in a shootout fashion to the Philadelphia Flyers. We can talk about the second period. We can talk about multiple two-goal leads blown. We can talk about the defense. We can talk about the offense. The offense actually looked kind of nice tonight. Or we can talk about high contract players not driving the bus. But whatever you talk about, chat's going to keep it flowing here tonight. I'm Thomas Welch here with Mike Meyer. Mike, give me your knee-jerk reaction to this game tonight. It felt like we had a little bit of everything, but it always feels like that with this blue teams, and you're just waiting on the torrential collapse that is looming like a dark cloud over this team. And more often than not, it rears its ugly head.
I wish I could say because I knew you're going to be asking me this, and I wanted to say I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. But it's not even that, because I am mad, because this team should be winning these games. They should be winning this. They should be winning against a team who's putting up only 2.5 goals per game. Philadelphia is not doing great. They're doing about the same here that you are here right now. You're on home ice. You've started to be able to trend things here in the right direction, and it's just, you said it here before we went live. They can't get out of their own way, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. This is just a team that, should we be worried? We should have been worried a couple of games ago. I'll just say that. I was worried a couple of games ago. Cairo did here have a good game. You know who didn't have a good game? Pavel Buchnevich. Again. And I'm sick and tired here of throwing Pavel Buchnevich here like underneath of the bus, but I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just well warranted, and fingers need to start getting pointed, and guys need to start pulling up their own weight. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to be playing here with this heavy of a contract, you need to be able to produce. And at this point, he's not producing. Now, again, it's other guys, it's other players, it's other boneheaded mistakes that they're making that's ended up here in the back of their net. But this was hard here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difficulty for me, as Safari Elvis, which is a great name, by the way, says it here in the comments. This is like the fourth or fifth game where we had a 2-goal lead or more and blew it. It's time to push the panic button. Yeah, that's the biggest one for me, is when this team has struggled throughout the course of this season to even find leads at times. So when you're in a situation where you have multi-goal lead, whether it's 2 goals, whether it's 3 goals, like that, like early on in the season, like they were struggling to come out in the first period, no jump. Like, teams were getting on top of them. They're taking bad penalties, and then they go to the power play and the other team scores immediately. So they figured that out, right? Now you've got a solid first period in the last, I'd probably say 7 to 10 games or so. Blues come out 2-0, 1-0, 3-0 sometimes, going into the second period. And for whatever reason, throughout the course of this season, a -12 goal differential in the second. I mean, that's just unacceptable. Like, how do you lose your compass of how to play hockey going from the first period, which has been promising, and they kind of figured that out and righted the ship there, into a second period where it all just falls apart? I don't understand. And to your point about Pavel Buchnevich, like, it's $8 million, dude. And you've got as many points on the season as Jake Neighbors, who's missed like 10 plus games. So at the end of the day, it's all about return on investment. If you're Doug Armstrong, if you're any GM in this league, if you're any businessman in the world, it's all about putting in money and getting more money on the back half, on the return on your investment, than you get putting in. And that's just not happening for the St. Louis Blues right now on their biggest contracts, a lot of them. And that's frustrating. Now, I will say, like, Jordan Kyrou, I thought played fantastic tonight. Jimmy Snuggerud, and that connection that Kyrou had with last season, Dylan Holloway, I think was on display. Dylan Holloway, 3-game goal streak. Like, bring up the
Robbie Thomas.
Buchnevich, like, I'm expecting to see Dylan Holloway on the first line next game. It's gotten to the point to where, like, you're shifting the lines up every game. Somehow it seems like Pavel Buchnevich is just solidified in that first line position, solidified in the penalty kill positions. And look, it's just he's fighting it right now, and that's fine. Like, put him somewhere else, get him some different looks, get him some different matchups against. Like, he's going up against the top talent of other teams. If you're trying to build confidence in this guy, put him up against some worse players and let him find the back of the net. Like, it's not necessarily like a demotion. Like, I think he even I saw it somewhere on Twitter that he was being interviewed and he was just ripping himself apart. Like, and we saw that with Ryan O'Reilly too. It's like confidence thing, right? And I think that seeps into your play when you're white knuckling the stick every 5 seconds. Like, yeah, it's no wonder you're missing the net. It's no wonder you're not picking your spots. Like, I'm frustrated too, but like as a player, for him with the the pedigree and the point production that he's shown in his years, like he's got to be more frustrated than anybody. So get his confidence back, get his swagger back, get him some different looks, some different line mates, but to keep like of all the things, dude, of everything that the Blues have changed up this season, we saw Bukestad, who's been playing pretty well for this team so far in the press box. Like, everything that this team has tried, not moving Pavel Buchnevich around seems like a head scratcher to me. And it feels like the fan base is kind of aligned in that mentality as well.
So here's a question that I got here for you, and I know I'm going to use this reference here here just to baseball, and I know obviously baseball and hockey, they're two totally different sports, but when in baseball especially, you see guys get, and I'll just use healthy scratched here for a game. If they're struggling, they get either pushed down the lineup, they'll get sat here for a game, just be able to give themselves a breather, and it's normal. Should hockey start implementing in a every
Load
now and
management.
then game management, load management, healthy scratch for their top players? And I know it's a totally foreign concept, and guys are going to be totally against it, and that's fine. But if a guy is struggling, if you can be able to manage the workload here with it, and if you can be able to have a guy who can be able to play it, because right now, like, who are you going to be able to get to take Pavel Buchnevich's spot? The way that he's playing, throw in Texier. I don't care. You're probably going to get the same level of play here from Texier than what you would with Buchnevich. But should it become more of a normalized thought of healthy scratching a player, just to say, hey, he's gripping the stick here a little bit tight here recently. He just kind of seems like he needs a bit of a breather, and it's like we're giving him the night.
Yeah, I think your biggest obstacle to overcome there, although I do agree, especially like with the way that the defense is getting shelled out recently. We talked about it on the last post games, but again tonight, I think Skinner and Kessel both had like 10 minutes of time on ice, and the rest of your D-men were like pushing 25, 30. So if you're talking about load management, Jim Montgomery's working in the wrong direction in that regard.
Yeah.
But I think your biggest obstacle there would be getting the players to agree to it, because all of them kind of agree that the best ability is availability. And even going to goaltenders, like you can ride a hot hand forever, and then all of a sudden somebody's out of a job. So I think nobody likes sitting in the press box. They like being on the ice and fighting for their
Absolutely.
team. Even if they've got broken collarbones and ruptured spleens, like nothing stops these guys just because they're absolute mutants. And that's part of the sport of hockey that we love. But with the St. Louis Blues right now, I don't know. That seems like a foreign concept to hockey, but this team needs to try foreign concepts, because the concepts that they're rolling out right now are not working at all.
Nope, absolutely. And you know what really isn't a foreign concept is getting a good financial partner, business banking, home
There
bank.
we
Man,
go.
I'm getting good with these ad reads, brother. I'm getting good with
Phenomenal,
them.
dude.
STL Sports and Blues Central is brought to you by our business banking partners here at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, these relationships make all of the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank, they're your business partner. Where do we go to from here?
I don't know. I don't know if we like I will say this, dude, like the offense tonight felt like the best of the season, which is
Yeah,
like crazy considering like we blew a 2-goal lead twice, right? And
twice.
the a final score was 6-5, which, actually does kind of fall in line with the offense when you're taking in consideration. Like Flyers defense has been pretty stout this season. And I think Vladar has been a big part of that. And we didn't see him in goal tonight. It was Urson who was
Yeah,
kind of fighting it a little bit. I think for a while
yeah.
there, his save percentage was about 600. So if you're a Flyers fan, I'm sure you're not happy about that. But the good news is he's your backup, and you can lean on a guy. I think Vladar's having a great season. So and they still got the win with Erson and net. But that being said, it did feel like the Blues offense, even outside of just whether it was poor goaltending on the Flyers part or not, like they were snapping the puck around and like sustained offensive pressure, which is something we have not seen much of throughout the course of this season. Whether it's Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway, like showing flashes of their chemistry, or Jimmy Snuggerud and Robert Thomas, like just snapping on each other's tape from all areas of the ice. Both of them showing that they're capable of, what Robert Thomas dropping down to a knee and burying it home. Like,
Yeah.
that's the stuff you want to see from a guy like him. Like, Robert Thomas is the catalyst that will drive this team, but also like the expectations that I know he's a rookie and I know that he's young. He's like 20 years old or whatever, but the expectations from Doug Armstrong that he inherently put on Jimmy Snuggerud when he
Yep.
said, I'm wheeling this kid out game one. He's going to be on the power play. He's going to get a lot of ice time. And we believe in him. Like, I don't want to put those expectations on a guy in his rookie season, but in the scenario and in the situation that Doug Armstrong and Jim Montgomery like showed their confidence in him like you almost have to, because you're banking on him to bring out like top line production at a young age. So like they kind of set that expectation. We're like, all right, we'll hold him to it. And so far, so good, right? Like he's having a solid season, but also based off of expectations, like to some degree, like you shouldn't be banking on Jimmy Snuggerud to be driving the bus, like we keep talking about, of the offense of this team. It should be Robert Thomas. It should be Jordan Kyrou. It should be Pavel Buchnevich. It should be guys like Justin Falk that are making like the buku bucks, and a guy like Braden Shen too. Which, Braden Shen, I think he's like a -12 last time I looked on the season. Logan Mayhew's a -12, and they sent him down to the AHL. So like,
He got a goal tonight.
I'm not saying he did. That was a nice one-timer. I'm not saying Braden Shen is like, as bad defensively as Logan Mayhew, but like everybody's struggling right now, right? That's why we've seen Braden Shen play more on the wing, because there's less, defensive responsibilities on the side instead of the middle of the ice. But, at some point, like the Blues got to figure out how to win games. And even past that, like let's forget about the result altogether and focus on the process. You have got to figure out how to hold on to a lead, like for longer than 30 seconds, because it feels like every single time they go up by 2 goals, they like start to feel relaxed, take their foot off the gas, and then like 15 seconds later, the puck's in the back of the net, and they're like, oh yeah, all right, well, let's start playing again. And then all of a sudden it's tied up. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you work so hard to build that lead, and to just let off the gas like that and let immediately, like, it's like opening the door for an intruder. You're like, oh, come on in. Like, we've got great stuff in here. Check it out. Like, dude, you work so hard. Like, just hold on to it. Keep that pressure for a full 60 minutes and like see what happens. But it's not happening right now, and they're ending up on the wrong side of results.
See, here's my thing here though, is that like you're not getting sustained pressure. You're not getting a ton of shots on goal. Like tonight, we had 12 shots on goal in the first 2 periods. That's not okay. You had a 48% Corsi in the first period, 40% Corsi in the second period. Like you're not getting sustained puck possession here at all. Like it to me, it's amazing that the Blues were able to get the final score that they did with the lack of puck possession that they had. They finally had just over a 50% Corsi for in the third period here alone tonight. That was their only good point here tonight. What was with Devo sitting and Shen moving up here in the lineup? I think it was simply just the fact that they were looking for more veterans. That's my only guess. Shen didn't look bad, but Devo really wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot. He had a couple of small little opportunities and chances, but I think again, like he's wanting to move up here, like with his more defensively responsible players. Um, Thomas does need a playmaking left winger. Yeah, I agree. I agree, and that's why I think, like you said, I think we could be able to see Holloway here tomorrow, here up against Vegas, and that's not going to be an easy matchup here for them. Thomas absolutely needs somebody else. He needs a full line to be able to play with. But it's the good news is that you are seeing that good pair him between he and Jimmy Snuggerud. So I think as long as you're getting that right now, you just need that third player, and that third player is going to be coming back here sooner than later in Jake Neighbors. So I think as soon as you get those guys, then you're able to start mixing and matching and potentially bringing Buchnevich down the lineup. So again, like I'll go back to again, like there were some good things that we could be able to take away here from this game. There were some bad things. Again, congratulations here to Hunter Skinner, makes his NHL debut. I thought he looked great for his limited role, for his lack of his time here, like in professional hockey outside of just the AHL. I think he had a strong game. Um, Haru looks sharp. 10 shot attempts here. I think it's until like some point, like in the third period. He looked good. Fowler with 500 career points. Amazing. Holloway here
It feels
again,
like to
goals in
me that
three straight.
Fowler's starting to like turn it around too, which is nice because like when he's
Yeah.
moving his like obviously his skating ability is part of what makes him so lethal, and then I think him snapping it around like we've kind of seen him distributing on the power play here and there, but like his playmaking ability too, like when he's getting assists is when he's most effective, and he had 2 assists tonight, so that's what you want to see from a guy like Cam Fowler, especially when the Blues gave you an extension in the offseason and they gave you that extension expecting you to be on the first pairing and you're on the second pairing. Like, obviously the Blues are moving everybody around, but I don't think Cam Fowler is on that second pairing if he's playing the way that he was last season. So hopefully he'll get back up into that spot, and just, competition is what feeds the beast, right? And Philip Broberg and Cam Fowler going toe to toe to see who plays better. I think that's a great like in-house competition to have, as well as everybody right now, because the best people that are performing like will get the ice time, as we've seen with guys like Matthew Joseph and Torpachenko and Nathan Walker. My God, Nathan Walker felt like he was used in like almost every scenario tonight. So it's Jim Montgomery's got what he's looking for at the end of the day, and these players gotta show up every night putting it all on the line. And it's going to be tough, like you said, against Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow night, who the last time that I checked, the Blues I think they haven't updated the stats, but I think they've got a couple guys that have 11 points now. If their team leader in scoring had 11 points and was on the Vegas Golden Knights, they'd be 7th in team scoring. So just to put into perspective what's going on in Vegas right now. And one of those players is Mark Stone, who played 6 games this season. He's on injured reserve. The other players is Jack Eichel. Oh, he's got like 20 points this season. Like he's just playing out of his mind. So to say the least, especially with Joel Hofer in net, who's, up and down this season, and he's been hot lately, but he's certainly not as polished or doesn't have the nerves of steel that Jordan Binnington does. If he is in net tomorrow, which I'm assuming he will be because it's a back-to-back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So Hofer gets a shutout in the comments. Yeah, dude, honestly, like full expectations out the window for this team. Like anything can happen any night. So that's fair. But it just feels like this Vegas Golden Knights team is still finding ways to win, even with, Aiden Hill to injury, Alex Pietrangelo to injury, like all of these guys sitting out, and they still have the depth to be able to, show out night in and night out. Like that's what you want from the St. Louis Blues team. It's just not happening right now.
First liner Ivan Barbashev putting up all them points, baby.
Brandon Saad, double revenge games, dude. It's not fun.
Nope. So let's keep things here at tonight's game. Let's look here just at our money moment here of the game. Again, the money moment here of the game brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. I gotta personally go here with that Jimmy Snuggerud goal. He had a chance here earlier in the game, and he couldn't build it. He couldn't get it past Arison, and you just knew that Snuggerud, based on how he was looking here tonight, how he was shooting the puck, he was going to get one. And that play by Robert Thomas, where he was able to bring it into the offensive zone, didn't like what he saw. Quick little button up cross feed here over to Jimmy Snuggerud and Snuggy. Like that was just, oh, it was beautiful. I had a couple of people over at my house here tonight, and they were watching the game who were not really big hockey fans, and even they were like, "What just happened with that goal?" So when I got non-hockey fans celebrating that goal, to me that was absolutely my money moment of the game.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, what a missile from Jimmy Snuggerud. It felt like that thing hit the back of the net and popped all the way out to center ice. Just unbelievable. Like every time that kid shoots, especially on the one-timers, I'm just like, what an absolute rocket. Like
Yep.
to unload that thing from the center, from the slot. So yeah, absolutely love that. I'm gonna go with Jordan Kyrou, like a guy whose name has obviously been in the tabloids. And when we talk about Doug Armstrong rattling the cages of players, like it feels like Jordan Kyrou is the name that he immediately goes to first when he's talking about, moving guys in the trade market. So that can't be easy for a guy like Jordan Kyrou who plays hockey with his heart on his sleeve, as we know here in STL, to go out there and perform every night while all this speculation is going on and he doesn't know, like, what's true or what's not. And so for him to get the first goal tonight, especially in the way that he did it, kind of good defense leading to good offense, which I believe is what Jim Montgomery has been preaching to this team all season long. But really, like a guy like Jordan Kyrou they've been preaching that to him like since he got like called up and really got his feet wet in the NHL. So I think that it speaks volumes for him, especially in the defensive progress that we saw from him going back to last season. It's just another pin in your laurels to be like, hey, like I am a two-way forward, whether, people want to believe it or not. Like I am capable of playing good defense. And I know that it provides an offensive spark when you're going the other way. Like if the other team's skating the other way and all of a sudden the puck's going the other way and you got one of the fastest guys in the NHL, like puck handling and a great shot, like typically your goal leader, like that's great for the St. Louis Blues. That's a good odds that they're going to put it in the back of the net. So for him to get it started for the boys tonight, I think was my money moment of the game.
Absolutely. Yep. This is again, this was a frustrating loss here for the Blues. Several positives that can come here from it. We're I think just looking for answers. I think the same way here that the Blues here are, and that's the hard part here about it. They can't dwell on it though. They got that tough matchup here again tomorrow here up against Vegas. I'm just going to move right into it. So if you would, what would you be putting money down here on? Let's even talk here about DraftKings because these guys are coming up. So be able to keep in mind here about prop bets and money lines and whatnot. You can be able to start making some serious cash. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now using the code STL Sports. Grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live here on December 1st. That's code STL Sports in a partnership here with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, I think I would go with, I think last time I said that I was going to put the over on shots. I don't know what the line was, but Philadelphia had 30 on the night. So, I think especially Vegas with Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner and all those guys on the other end, I think they're going to, at least match that, if not, go a little bit further. So you could even take, the Blues had 17 shots on goal tonight. Like maybe just take the under on shots for them because that's crazy, dude. But that seems like it's been a consistent problem for this team. Like, whether you come out in the second period and get like 3 shots on goal or just hemmed in your own zone and not even be able to get like sustained like offensive pressure. Like it always feels like the Blues have one of those periods where it's like, yeah, we're halfway through the period and the Blues haven't had a shot on goal yet. It's like, what are we doing, dude?
Right.
So yeah, if you're gonna throw some money down, I would probably do a couple of those. Like I said before, I don't know that I'm taking the Blues money line against Vegas, especially considering like The Blues were at home tonight and they lost again. They're 3-4-4 at home on the season, which is not great considering how much Jim Montgomery breathes into this team that they need like home ice advantage. And like we've said, like Vegas is a wagon. So yeah, take that with however you want. Maybe put some money down on Ivan Barbashev anytime goal scorer, or Brandon Saad if you're feeling funky. He'll probably make you a bag.
Oh, oof. If I were wagering here right now, I'm looking at it. Team total goals here for the Blues. The Blues have hit 2.5. They've hit the over here on 2.5 goals in 7 of their last 10 games. That is something I would end up putting some money on, to say that they're going to have over 2.5 goals.
That's a great
I,
one.
I I would feel comfortable here with that. They've got a tough matchup here right now, and I never know how to pronounce his first name. I think it's Akira Schmid. He is 6-1-2 with his 2.67 goals against average with 894 save percentage. Again, you're hitting him with a back to back, but I still would feel comfortable putting some money here on hitting the over on 2.5 goals.
I know
So
they just called up a player too that made his NHL debut, I believe, Bowden. I think that's his name. And then they also just put William Karlsson on injured reserve, I think, as well. So like, we talked about all the injuries piling up for Vegas, but obviously the Blues are kind of dealing it with too, with a guy like Jake Neighbors. But the difference between these teams is being able to overcome it and lean on that next man up mentality. And the
exactly.
Blues just haven't been able to do it so far this season. So it'll be a good litmus test for them against a team like the Vegas Golden Knights, who are very much like where you want to be, and especially in terms of a record, like they're above 500 right now. And the Blues, want to be a playoff team, you got to hang with the big dogs like Vegas. So if they can't get up for this game, if they can't, put together a full 60 for this game, like I don't know what the rest of this season looks like.
Vegas has lost 4 in a row. So they're going to be itching to be able to come out strong. But again, they're 3-4-3 in their last 10. It's not like
Interesting.
St. Louis is doing much better, but you are potentially, like you said, hitting Vegas at a good time where, like you said, you've got William Karlsson, Mark Stone. These guys are both injured, and these guys are two massive components here to their offense. So this would be an interesting one here for them. The team's done a better job blocking shots and not allowing shots since Monty has come here. Absolutely, fully agree here with that. But how are they going to get better without putting shots in? You're just not. You're plain and simple, like you're just not. And again, putting up 12 shots on goal in the first 40 minutes here, that was the part that really alarmed me. I had some people over who were not large hockey fans, and so like they're watching the game here with me. And they were asking like how come I was so frustrated. Yeah, it was a tied 3-3 game, but we should be pretty comfortable going into the third period. And I said, guys, have you not seen that they've only got 12 shots on goal? That's not
Well, it's
okay.
also throughout the course of this season too. I've never felt like a lead that the Blues have had where I've been comfortable, to be honest. Like just at any given moment, like in a 2 to 3 minute span, like they could put like in the back of the net against you, and you're like, wasn't it just 4-0? I went to the bathroom, came back, and it's tied. It's like, yeah, welcome to the St. Louis Blues. Like
Right.
that's it. That's basically what we're working with right now.
The weather that we've had here in St. Louis is the same way that the Blues are letting in goals and putting up shots that like you have no idea what it's going to be here at
Something
all.
else that
So
I was that interested me even going into this game. I think we talked about like how well Trevor Zegers has been playing. They're already talking about like extending him. A lot of people kind of wrote him off as a player and his struggles with Anaheim Ducks, and it just proves that like a new environment, new people, new coaches, new front office, like all that stuff that like they breathe confidence in you can make a world of difference. But what did you see from the St. Louis Blues tonight I guess in the way that Trevor Zegras was able to, put his fingerprints all over this game? Because that feels like something that's been reoccurring for this team too. Like outside of the game against the Oilers, where you noteworthy like held McDavid and Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl like without a shot. It does feel like the Blues struggle consistently against teams that have like a top player, and they're like, hey, go shut down this top player. And they're like, he's got 2 goals and 2 assists tonight, so I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know what I mean? Like consistently, like obviously like Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon are like guys that hit that level, but they kind of do that to everybody. But even guys like, Clayton Keller is a good example. Like,
Mhm.
maybe it's the St. Louis Roots, but he just has our number like every game. And it's like, you'd feel like in the scouting report and in the video, it's like, okay, make sure we don't lose track of this guy because he will burn you. And then the game happens and it's like, oh, guess who burned us 3 times? Oh yeah, that guy that we said we should probably keep an eye on. You
It's not
know,
like he put a different jersey on.
right?
We
He's
forgot who he
not
was.
blending in. Like Trevor Zegras has like his hair's almost reaching his collar. Like he's pretty noteworthy out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's just it's mind-blowing, that this should absolutely be a guy, and I'm sure it is a guy that they're talking about here in the pregame and in any bit of matchups and trying to figure out, who do we need to make sure that we are absolutely covering. And the fact that they're not covering them, or that they're just somehow just getting and just blowing right past the defense. Maybe it's a testament to the quality that we have here on defense. Maybe it's a quality and a testament to how good that these players here are. It's a combination of that. I don't know. I don't know. And that's the frustrating part here about this. So,
Ben
how do you
says, "How
guys
do you
think?
guys think the Blues approach Booch? Does he really fit this team's timeline?" That's a great question, actually. Um, uh, I think if you asked me 2 years ago, even at the time when we were talking about, Pavel Buchnevich and the extension and the contract and stuff, like I think everybody was thinking about letting David Perron go, and it's like Pavel Buchnevich up to that point had been consistent point getter, goal scorer, like 20 goal scorer, and the chemistry that you saw with him and multiple members on the St. Louis Blues, like there was reason to sign him long term and put him on the contract that he's on right now. That being said, when the point production doesn't align, and to be fair, it's not only that it doesn't align, like it's not even close to like what he's making right now. I think that's where you run into difficulties and you start to question things like, does he fit this team's timeline, especially given his age, and how the Blues just, especially in this last like season and off season, have just consistently decided that they're going to get younger and younger and bringing in guys like Mayu and breathing confidence in Jimmy Snuggerud and even now like Dalibor Dvorsky. Like we talked about him kind of being a ghost tonight, and I think Jim Montgomery only gave him like 11 minutes because he's a young guy and it just didn't look like he had it tonight. But there's been games where it looks like he's driving his lines, and at 20 years old in the NHL, like that's reason enough to keep trotting him out there. So yeah, for Pavel Buchnevich, I don't know where you go with it right now, because also like if you're trading him, like you can probably still get value for him because there's a lot of teams that think just like with Trevor Zegras that like put him in a different environment, put him with different guys, and he'll find a resurgence and kind of find his numbers back. But you're not going to get like full value, like what Doug Armstrong perceives like his worth is because of his offensive production and because people, to be blunt, like people are going to be nervous that they're going to get burned by his contract, left with like a 30-year-old, 32-year-old for like however many years at $8 million. Like that can log jam you like nobody's business, and we've seen it firsthand here with the St. Louis Blues and multiple other teams. So I think that's something wary that you got to think about. Like, yes, obviously, like, it feels like everybody's in play to be, potentially traded from the St. Louis Blues right now. There's just varying levels of difficulty of who can be moved, who can't be moved, no trade clauses, 15 team no trades, and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how Doug Armstrong navigates it. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know we're running a little bit long here tonight, so I'm just gonna give this a quick little 30 seconds. To be completely honest, I was not a huge fan here of the extension to Buchnevich. So I'm trying to come at this with not so jaded opinion here already. I don't think that he fits this team's timeline. Um, if he was willing to take a lesser role, Milda maybe fit more into right now into like a middle six role and then eventually into like a bottom six role. But the contract also does not, it doesn't really command that. Um, right now the Blues need him to be that offensive player than rather that, 2019 Steen that was playing on the fourth line and, despite his large salary that he was making, I think it was like 6.5 million here at the time. Um, it was widely criticized, but you saw the value that Steen was bringing here to that third and fourth line. I don't know if you're going to be able to get something like that here from a guy in Pavel Buchnevich when, especially that he's on year one of this contract. So, if you want my honest opinion, he doesn't fit this timeline. But it is what it is, and he's earned the contract that he's got, and he signed it, and both teams, both parties agreed to it. And you just have to be able to keep moving forward, unless you just want to be able to move on from him. But
I'd like to say that I'm going to move on to the next game and forget that this game ever happened, but I'm pretty sure that next game is going to look a lot like this one. And, getting out to a lead in the first, struggling in the second period, letting us down in the third period, and, all of that jazz. Like,
don't even need to watch it then.
But, well, that being said, like, even going back to like their game against Dallas, like that felt like the one game this season where it was like, oh, maybe we can hang with like these playoff teams. So, like, I think, I want to say that this team frustrates me so much, and it's because we see games like this, but it's also like this team is so inconsistent that we could see like the best game of the season tomorrow night against the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Blues win like 4-2, and we're like, oh, like all we like. There's a very real scenario where the Blues like actually figured out like how to get their offense firing on all cylinders tonight. And like Chat was saying earlier, like Schmid's save percentage is not great. And Vegas actually is like, they're even Aiden Hill is like injured right now. But even when he was in, like Vegas was ripping him apart for like not making all the saves that they want him to. So I think they're kind of scrambling right now at the goaltender position. And I think that's why they went and got a guy like Carter Hart, even though there's a lot of strings attached to that. But for the Blues, it's an opportunity to take advantage of a team that's wounded, right? We talked about all the injuries that they're dealing with, and they're overcoming them. But it's just going to be much more difficult to beat that team later on in the season when they're fully healthy. So if they can get into that mindset now of like taking advantage of the opportunities that are in front of them, and just maximizing what you built in this game, which is chemistry between Jimmy Snuggerud and Robert Thomas, as well as Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway, which if we're talking about guys that are going to drive the bus for this team, like I know Buchnevich has a massive contract. If you don't even worry about him and just focus on like that core four, if they all figure it out, like Buch can do whatever he wants, skate around in circles and be on the fourth line if he wants to. And like, I think this team will still have success and like make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like Dylan Holloway at his best is a mutant on the ice, like not just from a speed perspective, like his shot plays and protecting the puck. And he's like jacked too. He's a gym rat. So like, I think that core four, like, I mean, you can talk about a guy like Dvorsky, but I think he's still young to even really be in that conversation. But I think that core four, like if, you can pick apart like different guys and slot them in there as well. Maybe a guy like Jake Neighbors, but like there has to be guys that are stepping up into that position to drive the bus and drive the offense of this team. And if it's not Buchnevich, maybe it's somebody else. But we'll see what happens against Vegas. Hopefully we get a couple of those guys, maybe a couple more guys to step up into that position and be like, hey, I'm going to put the team on my back. Greg Jennings.
Yeah, I think you're giving people some PTSD talking about doing with a core four mention here. So any other last thoughts that, again, like I know we're running a little bit long here tonight and I appreciate, all the interaction. Any other thoughts, final comments, anything like that?
I want to hear your final score prediction for tomorrow night against Vegas Golden Knights and Jack Eichel at home with St. Louis Blues. And give me like one hot take about St. Louis Blues, like somebody scores, somebody gets an assist, Joel Hofer shutout, somebody healthy scratch, because that's been a consistent theme. Like whatever you want to pull out there, give me something that you're going to hang your hat on. You're going to be like, this is going to happen.
I think we do see a win. I'm not going to put my hat here on a score. I'm just not.
You're
I
thinking a
think that you.
win?
I'm thinking a win.
Okay, I
Um,
like the positivity.
I'm thinking a win. And I'm gonna go with a. I'll just say a Jordan Cairo goal. Those are
Okay,
the two things I'm gonna put it there.
I'm gonna say this. I think I thought Hunter Skinner played a good game in his debut, but he reminded me a lot of Logan Mayu and like just the nerves, I think, a little bit. And Matthew Kessel, I think he's been good for us throughout his games this season, but he also had like a costly turnover. I think that he like slipped and fell, and then the puck went immediately back into the back of the net. So I think if I had to hang my hat on something, I think Jim Montgomery's gonna mess around with the defense again. Um, and I'm gonna say maybe we see Callie Rosen. I'm gonna put my hat on that one against
You're
Vegas
going
Golden
way
Knights.
deep with that one.
So we'll
Wow.
see. We'll see if that pans out or not. But I'm gonna go final score. Oh man, I cannot. I'm sorry, I can't pick the Blues to win, just given
Okay.
the circumstances. I'm gonna say the final score is God. I'm gonna say 5-3. It feels like the Blue, like every single
Mm,
game this season has been high scoring. To your credit about the over stat, I think that's gonna play again. And I don't think that the offense that we saw tonight is like a flash in the pan that's just going to go away. I think that
fair.
it is them starting to figure things out. I just think the Vegas Golden Knights offense is insane. So I think
Yep.
that's going to propel them to victory, especially against a young goaltender like Joel Hofer that doesn't have the pedigree that Jordan Binnington has. And especially if we're talking about the back end and the defense, like still, if Jim Montgomery's still trying to figure out the defense, you've got two guys tonight that played 10 minutes total of time on ice, and the rest of your four D men are like 25 minutes plus. So if you think they're going to be coming out 100%, full cardio, feeling their best tomorrow night against Vegas, like they're going to be feeling the effects of tonight's game. That's for sure.
Nope. Absolutely. All right. Let's put a bow here on it. It's been fun.
It has
Appreciate it,
been
Tommy.
fun, and we appreciate chat. Always keeping the conversation flowing, the topics, whether it's Binnington, whether it's how much this team infuriates us. Like we always say, we will be here after every single game, every post game. So make sure you subscribe to STL Sports Central on YouTube and follow us on all socials. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you can find us, anywhere you have your attention, you can find STL Sports Central and Blues Central clips. So yeah, from me, Thomas Welch, and Mike Meyer, we appreciate you guys. 6-5 loss, the Blues in shootout, but they have a redemption game against Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow night. So we will see you after that game, hopefully get a different result. Peace.